Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much for asking to make this talk. I appreciate it so much. I'd like to tell you how I got to Faith Church. My dad noticed that the church had a baseball baseball team, and he wanted to be on it. And the pastor said the only way you can be on this team is if you come to church and Sundays participate in many of the churches functions throughout the years, which include Sunday school, Bible study, and stewardship, community, so on. In fact, Carol Shaw was my fifth grade Sunday school teacher. That's how many years back, way back there. And she taught for many years after that, and she's still active in the church. This church has supported me all the way. You have been very accommodating with my space needs. I made many friends to to all the other church that I led with graduates, and I wanted friends to talk to us. And I cherish those memories.
Hi, my name is Ward Menz, and I and my family have been coming to this church for over 80 years now. I think my mother brought me she introduced me to church back 82 years ago. She brought me a little blanket to the church on the corner on Winifred and Bankrupt on the west side. Just a little church. It was half a block away from our house. And she introduced me, and I've loved it ever since. And she told me as soon as I was old enough to reason, she said, this is something you do every Sunday. You can do anything else you want on Sunday, but church is first. And our little church had a basement, and we had clotheslines drawn with sheets, and that was our rooms. But it was a wonderful place, and we had a wonderful minister and wonderful people. And I grew spiritually. I learned how to respect God, and I love Jesus as my big brother. And then we moved up in the 60s to our new church, Faith Methodist. It's not as exciting as Faith Evangelical United Brethren, but it's a beautiful church. Over the years, I've met so many wonderful people and friends, and I think that's my main thing is the extended family. Through all the tragedies and all the good times, they're always there to help you. Thank you.
The coffee. Thank you.
God, it's great. All right, thanks for laughing at that. All right, so, you knew there had to be more, right? It's the signs out front. It's the way when one thing ends and a new thing begins. It's enthusiasm. It's the way we always seem to find people willing to do whatever is needed and get behind an idea. And all the music, and all of you. It's the people on Zoom and in the sanctuary, and the kids and adults in Sunday school, and the young adults now going through confirmation. But mostly it's because when I do things here, I feel like I'm multiplying, excuse me, my individual thing. I'm part of everyone else's things too.
Matters to me and my family. Briefly, we entered the doors of this church several years ago looking for a faith family and an opportunity for Clayton and Patrick to receive a Christian education as part of a faith family. Well, that was 27 years ago. Clayton and Patrick received that, and for that I'm so grateful. Well, they both attended Iowa State and made the mistake of marrying Iowa girls. They both live in Des Moines, but what they learned here will stay with them forever. And they're there, and I'm still here. And what I've learned is, in an effort to provide a faith family for Clayton and Patrick, I ended up finding a faith family for our whole family, including me.
Lutheran. Most people of Finnish heritage are. Earlier this week, out of curiosity, I Googled United Methodists in Finland and got a report from the World Methodist Council that told me that there are 800 United Methodists in Finland in 9 congregations. So how did this Finlander become a United Methodist? I grew up in a small town of Cromwell in northern Minnesota. My parents weren't regular churchgoers, but my mother thought that I should go to Sunday school. Mothers are influential, right, Bart? When I was about 6, she gave me a choice, Lutheran or Methodists. Both churches were in walking distance from our house. I chose Methodist because my best friend Steve went there. That simple decision proved to be a major turning point in my life, then and now. I was baptized and confirmed, 1 week apart, I might add, as a Methodist, and remained active and involved in the Methodist Youth Fellowship as a teenager. Our pastor at the time was a Mennonite. He and I disagreed on just about everything. But he would come visit me regularly, especially in the summer, and we would sit in the garage and talk about theology, mostly. From him, I learned that people can disagree without being disagreeable. Faith United Methodist Church was and remains a little over a mile from our house. So I chose to become a member of this congregation, not theology, but geography. When Dawn and I got married a few years later, we tried to keep connected with this church and First Covenant Church in St. Paul, some 10 miles away, where Dawn was a lifelong member. We finally chose Faith because we couldn't handle 2 churches at the same time. Geography may have shaped our decision to come here, but we remain here because of the kind, caring, and wise people in this congregation, plus the opportunity to deal with theology meeting everyday life in our changing world, and the joy of serving our community by putting into practice what we do best. At Faith Church, we've experienced the kindness and compassion at significant turning points in our lives, especially this year. We are grateful for your prayers and your gifts of encouragement, listening, hospitality, and good humor during the transitions and turning points of our lives.
Started thinking about
Faith Matters and why Faith Matters. First thing I did was I looked at Google in United Methodist churches near me. What I found out, and I wouldn't go to necessarily all of them because I don't speak Hmong or I don't speak Spanish, but there's 12 churches that are closer to our new house than Faith is. But I thought, you know, we're still come here and there's very good reasons. And the first two, I'll just tell you how I think of them and then I'll give you some examples. Milestones, that's the first one. Our family, like many of your families, go through milestones in life. And we haven't, as a family, gone through all these stages, but many of them here at Faith. And I think of stages such as birth and baptism, Sunday school. I confirm with Diane Menz that both of our kids, their first Sunday school teacher was Diane. Summer camp, confirmation, graduation, weddings, moving. None of my frat brothers, none of my high school buddies were there the last time we moved, but the people from Faith were. And unfortunately, there have been too many funerals here at Faith recently. But those milestones are key, and a lot of them have happened here. And going someplace else wouldn't quite be the same. Adult enrichment class has always been wonderful, as has men's breakfast. Many, many years, men's breakfast. I think 25, maybe going on 30 years. Fred and I worked in the kitchen today, and Bill was there, and it's always fun, even though we don't like to scrub that hard. It's that way. Even the boring committee meetings that we all dislike created friendships. But it's those two things that make faith matter to me, the milestones and the friendships. Thank you.
Why does faith matter? It sounds like an easy question when you first hear it, but I've really been reflecting a lot. Why does it matter so much to me? Why does it matter that I get up on Sunday and come to church instead of sitting at home? What is it that really makes it matter to me? I think of our church as the mouse that roars. And I know some have heard me say that before. That while we're a small congregation, we have done a lot to bring God's love to our community and beyond. We are feeding around 200 people a month. I couldn't do that by myself. It takes our church to do that. We have a garden providing fresh produce to those who can't afford to buy it. Hundreds of pounds in the summer by raising vegetables and herbs out in the garden. It takes many people to accomplish that. 3 other churches who worship here. We bring a lot of love through all of these people coming to worship God. We have an NA group, a colostomy group, a square dance group, people who can get together and enjoy community. Meals on Wheels, providing meals to shut-ins. Breakfast with Santa. Doesn't sound like a church thing, really, does it, with Santa? But it does. It brings people in. They bring in food that goes to the food shelf. 2,000 pounds of food that are gathered during the Food Share Month. Things matter to me, but we couldn't do these things alone. I am humbled by the dedication of all of you for all you do to spread Christ's teaching by words, action, and financial support. On Sunday mornings when I walk into church, I feel and see the love of God reflected in your faces and in your actions. This regenerates me so that I can try to pass it on to others throughout the week.
My family started coming to Faith Church over 100 years ago when my grandparents joined. My mother was baptized in our church in 1922. I was baptized in 1951. I was confirmed in 1964. Our confirmation class had 16 students. When Faith Church was called Faith Evangelical United Brethren Church, it was located in St. Paul on Winifred Street. We used to walk to confirmation after school on Wednesdays, but when we moved to West St. Paul on Oakdale, my dad drove 7 of us in his station wagon to the new church. We were the first class confirmed in this church. When I grew up, I was in charge of getting candle lighters every Sunday. I sang in the choir for many years, helped teach Sunday school and Bible school. I was on the worship committee, was a lay reader, and helped with a lot of garage sales. I've been in church plays, sang solos, was a greeter, and have ushered. Now I am in the craft group. I have very good memories here at church and plan on being a member for the rest of my life. Every time I come to church, I pay a little visit, so when I knock on heaven's door, the Lord won't say, "Who is it?"